Wow, what a weekend. Now, before I start my review of the protest, you can probably hear what sounds like somebody having a wee in the background of the video. It's actually because it's raining really hard here in the UK, but it's also very sunny. So I've got the window open. However, it's raining pretty heavy. So I hope this sounds okay, and you can get through this whole video because it's probably going to be a long one, but I hope one that you find encouraging. And I don't know what to say. It's just been an epic weekend, and there's a few people that I want to mention through the video. Um, but just to say, guys, I know I've taken a big break from YouTube for a couple of years, and I've deleted the majority of my videos. I wanted to keep the channel open though because I always knew I was going to pick it up again. I just kind of wasn't sure when, and when was the appropriate time to start talking again. I kind of feel like today is the day. So where have I been? Well, I've got to kick off on a sad note, really. So as some of you may be aware, in January of 2017, my father became yet another victim of JW suicide. Now, my dad, God rest his soul, struggled for many years with the pressure of the society and the rules that he had to follow. And he just really struggled having on one side of the family having a disfellowshipped son that he was told he wasn't allowed to associate with, and on the other having a family that were very much Jehovah's Witnesses. And in the end, the pressure got too much to him, and sadly, he took his own life. He used to share with me the struggles that he used to go through. I will make another video in a bit more detail about it because there's lots and lots of things that I want to expose with regards to not being invited to the funeral, with regards to the treatment that I had as a result off the back of it and all that kind of thing. But now is not the time. But I started questioning a lot of things which were with regards to my faith as well, and I still I would still consider myself a Christian, but I'm certainly a lot more liberal when it comes to my faith. And I will no longer tell anybody that what I believe in is the truth, because I just don't think anybody, and I mean anybody, can actually turn around to any another individual and say, I've got everything right and you have got everything wrong. Now, I obviously have left the Jehovah's Witnesses, and that is exactly what they do. We know the truth and you know nothing. Now, I don't want to be that guy again. I don't. And when I joined the evangelicals, I think I definitely had a lot of that attitude where I knew everything, but it was just I knew something different to what I knew previously. And so anyone that I have been a bit arrogant to over the past, in the past, because I told them that what I believed in was 100% accurate. I very much I deeply apologise for that. So that's that out of the way now. So one thing still remains though is I still obviously am anti-Watchtower. I still want to play a part in activism against the Watchtower Society. But I haven't felt ready for any kind of activism. When I saw the protest that was going on and that was organised for last weekend, I initially wasn't going to go, but then it got to sort of Tuesday, Wednesday, and I could see the volume of people that were going to turn up to this event, and I thought, you know what, I can do it now. There's going to be strength in numbers. There are going to be people there who have gone through so much worse things than what I've been through, and they're going to be there, and I want to stand by them, and I want to show solidarity with all of these people that were going to be there. And I was dying to meet some of these people that I've only ever previously seen on a screen. So I kind of decided to go sort of last minute, and I'm so glad that I did. So here's sort of my review of of the weekend. And yeah, want to sort of share a few pictures with you, a few bit of video footage as well, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. So I turned up on the Friday, but I got there quite late, and it was just as everyone was leaving the pub. However, I did just manage to catch this beautiful man, just as he was leaving, and I've known Parker for it feels like for a very long time, over YouTube, and we've done the Vast Apostate Hour together and stuff like that before. And yeah, love his work, love his videos, love his bottle as well of going into Kingdom Halls, and he's got such an aura about him when you speak to him, when you see him on his videos. So it was a real privilege to see him, and also meet a lot of the people like Stacey and Maggie, and forgive me, I've been really rubbish with names over the course of the weekend, but all of you Americans who came over, you're such a lovely bunch, and thank you so much for coming over. I met Neil, and I met Neil's wife, who is no longer going to be called Neil's wife. She's going to be known as Linda, and what an amazing couple. And I had actually booked myself into a hostel in the centre of London because I last minute everything was quite expensive, so I thought I'll go and stay in a hostel somewhere nearby. And Neil and Linda kindly gave me a room that had been going spare for somebody that unfortunately was unable to make the event. So at the last minute, I managed to get a hotel room where all of the rest of my fellow apostates were staying, and where a load of Jehovah's Witnesses were staying as well. So that was brilliant, and the hotel was lovely, and the staff were lovely, and it was right next to the stadium as well. So it was a fantastic location to be. Now I was buzzing. I was just, and Neil will probably tell you this, but I just could not wait to get out of bed the next day and go and grab my banner and go and get protesting. And I was a bit bad. I didn't stick around for the briefing or stick around to listen to the plan or anything like that. So I stood here with my sign. I'll talk to you about my sign in a little while. So I was here at about 7 a.m. in the morning, and even at 7 a.m. in the morning, like loads of Jehovah's Witnesses were walking past, and they were reading the sign. And at that time of the morning, I think it's a lot of the hardcore crew that come in at that time. So some of these people were exceptionally rude. One guy even spat in my direction as well. Whether or not he was aiming for me or not, I don't know, but it certainly was pretty horrible. And I don't mind, to be honest with you, and I feel very sorry for these people. And one other gentleman told me that I needed to get a life and get a proper job. So I said, for your information, Sunshine, I'm not a window cleaner. Not that I have anything against window cleaners, I hasten to add. But I'm not a window cleaner, and for the next 2 days, while you're sitting in the convention hall, I'm the majority of the time going to be in the pub. And you want to tell me to get a life? And it hit him pretty hard, I think, to be fair. He all of a sudden had this realisation that he was going to have to sit in this stadium and listen to 2 days of drivel, while I was going to be having fun with a load of friends. Now, I don't go out to try and what's the word? Antagonise any Jehovah's Witnesses, but equally, if someone's going to say something to me, or if someone's going to heckle, or if someone's going to be rude, I am going to stand my ground. And I think that's the point, that you can still stand your ground without being rude to people. And I'd like to think that that's how I was behaving. Hopefully everyone will echo that, but maybe other people will have an opinion. So anyway, it was really great. And then I met two people. I met the lovely Chris and Lara, and I met Chris's wife, who I can't remember her name, so forgive me, love, if you're listening, but you all were great, all absolutely wonderful, and they said, well done on you for getting out early, and then I got grabbed by one of the security guards, and he said, look, you're more than welcome to stand here while you're on your own, but he goes, we've set aside a pen for you guys to stand in, for when your protest actually starts, and when there's more of you. But he's like, for now you can stand here and you're absolutely fine where you are. And he could hear. I wasn't even giving a message to anyone. I wasn't talking to anyone, not interacting with anyone. I was simply just stood there with a sign, and that was it. So then, sort of the official protest, if you like, started around 12 o'clock. But like I say, by that time, I was already stood in the pen, and I was stood in it on my own, and that was great. And it was good fun to just sort of stand there on my own, and watch some people come in, and I think it was, yeah, it was certainly liberating, put it that way. And then all of my friends came to come and join me. And I've got to tell you that, and this was another reason why it was great being in the pen on my own, because I could actually see them all from afar off, just coming sort of over the hill like in one big army. It was terrific to see everyone kind of walking up the steps, up into the pen. It was really fantastic to witness. Um, I want to mention a few people that I met and a few signs that I saw, which really hit me really hard, and ones that I just want to mention. And I'll show some pictures on here, and if anyone wants these pictures removed, please tell me, and I will get rid of them. But hopefully you don't mind them going public. So I want to talk about this guy Craig. Now I will level with you, as a Jehovah's Witness and even as an evangelical, I had such disrespect for people who were gay. And when you actually talk to people like Craig, as well as other people who are gay who have come out the witnesses, or even out of any high controlled religion, it must be such a difficult place to be. I mean, it's bad enough if you leave the Jehovah's Witnesses, but if you leave the Jehovah's Witnesses and you come out as being gay as well, it must be such a difficult place to be. And I just wish that some of these Jehovah's Witnesses would talk to this guy. He is just one big barrel of fun, and there is absolutely nothing strange about this individual, about gay people, and this guy was just incredible. He wasn't angry, he wasn't bitter, and had every right to be, but stood there proudly in his heels with his sign. And Craig, you are such an inspiration to people, and there would be people in the assembly hall that would have been gay, that would have been, again, are just crying to get out of that religion and to just come clean as to who they are. And very, very bold of Craig to do what he's done, and got nothing but respect and admiration for what it is that he was doing. So thank you, Craig. Now, the other sign that really hit me really hard was this one here. I'm going to try and see if I can zoom in on it a little bit, so might lose the quality a little bit, but essentially this sign says, the elders didn't believe me, but a jury of 12 did. And it's just brilliant. And the thing is why this sign was so powerful is that on the Sunday I had a very irate Jehovah's Witness come to me. She don't think she was a Jehovah's Witness. I think she was just an interested individual. She said, "Where's your proof? Where's your proof?" And I said, "Well, hold on a second there, love," because she could see the signs of Jehovah's Witnesses covering up child abuse. And I said, "Okay, let me give you some proof." So I said, "Look, this is the newspaper article," and I said, "and this is the lady that has actually experienced the abuse." So I said, "There's your evidence." So I said, "How's that make you feel?" And the look on this woman's face was just a picture. And she apologised for being irate, and she said, "I think that what you guys are doing then is incredible." And she vowed that when she goes back into the assembly hall, she's going to tell her friends as to what it is that she's seen, this evidence of people covering up child abuse. So thank you, and again, forgive me for not remembering your name, but thank you for your banner, thank you for your presence, thank you for being there, and for sharing your story. You were so brave to do what it is that you've done, and to share your story with everyone, and then come to the protest. So again, thank you. the when we sort of the protest kind of died down around I think it was about 2 o'clock when it started to die down, and then sort of it was very difficult then because people started to disperse, and now I want to talk about a guy called Neil Gardner. Now, what can you where do you start with the Great Apostate? I mean, you could talk about his videos, you could talk about the help that he's given to people, the organisation, and all that sort of thing. And I'm sure lots of other people are going to talk about it. But for me, he was the glue that held it all together. Um, and when you've got 100 odd apostates to deal with, it's going to be difficult to try and keep everybody in line, because not only is everyone's emotions running high, um, understandably so. Um, you, we all had to stand in a certain position. We all had to behave in a certain way. And Neil, bless him, knew that what one person did was going to have an effect on the rest of the group. And he did so well to politely just try and keep everyone in check, make sure that from security's point of view that everyone was behaving, and when Mr. Derek O'Hare turned up, Derek, we've all have so much respect for what it is that you've done previously, but Neil, bless him, was so respectful towards Derek as well, and said, look, we want you to be here, we want you to protest with us, but look, you've got to adhere to what it is that the security have said to us, because the security have been really good to us. And you know what, Derek, fair play to you, buddy. You've done exactly what it is that you were asked of. Not that anyone would have stopped you from if you wanted to go and do something else, but the fact is that by behaving in the way that you've done, we've left there on really good terms with security, and it means then we can go back again next weekend, and indeed for future events as well. Basically, Neil was able to sort of round everybody up and found us this restaurant and this bar where we could all just interact and all swap stories and have some food and some have a really good time. I was going to use the word fellowship, but that would have been sounded very Jehovah's Witnessy. But yeah, we were all able to spend some time together at this bar just here, and it was terrific. Then we all go back out again at the end of the day, when all the Jehovah's Witnesses are coming out. We're again all there in our force with our banners. I think it was a little bit more difficult though towards the end of the day, because of, I think that it had been announced to Jehovah's Witnesses to not interact with anybody and ensure that if possible they would use the other exit. Now obviously not everybody did, and Jehovah's Witnesses are curious as to what it is that we were doing. And so a lot of people, even those that didn't come to interact, they were taking pictures, they were taking videos, they would coming around and reading all the signs. And when parents leave their children to it as well, at the age of 12, 13, if you're going to leave your child to do their own thing, then guess what? They're going to go on their phone and they're going to look at jwfacts.com. That's just the nature. Kids are very, very bright, and they want to know both sides of the argument, and so that was terrific. But I think towards the end of the day, I didn't feel like there was as many people interacting. That was just my opinion and my view. Maybe others have got some different views. And then we got out in the night time, and it was terrific. And this was the opportunity to just go and have a few drinks, have a lot of drinks in my case, and just get to know some of these other people. And I met this guy here, John, and I hope you don't mind again me putting your picture up and showing everybody who you are. And not only did I find out this guy's story, and it was a horrendous story it was, I wouldn't share with you what happened to him, but it was pretty bad. He's also a fellow train enthusiast, which was great, and it was like, well, I never thought I'd be talking about model trains over the course of this weekend at XJW, or a JW protest, should I say. So that was terrific to have that interaction, and had endless amounts of beer as well, which was great. And spent some good time with Chris. I met Carl, and this is a guy who I've watched his channel, and what a guy he is! Absolutely brilliant. And if you haven't gone on his channel, please, I'm gonna put the link to his channel below. Because if you haven't watched it, if anyone wants to know what really good calm activism here. They want to. You need to see this. And this guy, in spite of everything that he's been to, like with a lot of people that I met over the course of the weekend, was so calm and collective and so humble in what it is that he was doing. So yeah, it was really good to meet him and his wife, who also happens to be the granddaughter of a hero of mine, Jackie Milburn, who former centre forward for Newcastle United. So again, wasn't expecting that over the weekend, but that was terrific. And then I and then I went on the Vast Apostate hour at night time. It was about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, with Eric, Son of Thunder, and with our American friends, and with Neil as well. Apologies, guys, if it was a bit rough. It's because, see, if you at that time in the time of night, and I've been drinking for quite some time, it's gonna just be a little bit. It's gonna be a little bit rougher than perhaps it usually is. But I had a fantastic time. So that was Saturday. And Sunday, I hadn't actually planned on staying. I was going to sort of leave relatively early Sunday morning, but I'd had such a good time from the day before. It was like, right, I'm going to get out there again, and for at least the midday one. And you know what, Sunday, honestly, the people that came to interact, I'd never seen anything like it. I couldn't believe the amount of, I'm talking current Jehovah's Witnesses here, that actually stayed and actually interacted. And even when some attendants and some big cheeses were trying to pull them away, they carried on talking. And it was brilliant to see almost the rebellion, I suppose, of these Jehovah's Witnesses that were thinking, I'm going to talk to them. If I want to talk to them, then I will. And again, just a shout out to my fellow apostate friends, how calm and collective he was. When people were right in your face and were shouting at you, how peaceful you all were, and how powerful that was. I want to back at this guy as well, Nick French. Now, if you haven't heard Nick's story, I'm going to leave a link to his story in the description below as well. Nick is, I think, his story is one of the most heartbreaking ones I think I've heard in recent years. And he had got every right to be upset and irate with witnesses, because of what has happened to him. But again, just like all the others that I've met, so calm, so nice, just it's so placid, and some of these Jehovah's Witnesses had the audacity to call this guy scum, and to call the rest of the apostates scum, and without even talking to them. I mean, these Jehovah's Witnesses were, I would say, probably the minority. These were the ones that were rude, and that were completely clueless as to what is going on inside the organisation. But the ones that did actually come to speak to us, I think that the majority of them we left on very good terms. And if you were one of those Jehovah's Witnesses that interacted with an apostate, you are so brave to do that. And I hope that you can see that we're a peaceful bunch. I hope that you can see that we're not there to cause trouble. We're there essentially to try and help save your life. We're there to help you look at these doctrines. And essentially, all we really want you to do is to think for yourself. We don't want these people thinking for you. And if you choose then to have a belief off the back of it, well, that's your prerogative. But make sure it's your decision and not one that's being thought out for you. And that's really all we were asking. So, yeah, Sunday I felt like there were even more that seemed to be talking to us. And again, maybe other people have got different opinions, but certainly what I felt. And finally, I want to talk about this lady. And this video wouldn't be complete without talking about Louise. Now, I've not had a massive amount to do with Louise over the years. I've always admired her work. I've often interacted with her on Facebook and on YouTube and that kind of thing, but not had a massive amount to do with Louise before. And what can I say about this lady? Well, I mean, the organisation that she has done for this whole event was was amazing. She'd done so much homework with regards to laws and all that kind of thing. But for me, what was even more impressive is the PR that she'd managed to get off the back of it. And for me, that is what is the most powerful thing. The media side of things is huge. And so she'd done so much to get really good media coverage and make sure share the hell out of this event. It wasn't just about the organisation; it was drumming up the support for all of this. And yeah, just again, massive inspiration. And you know what, a lovely lady as well. I can't speak highly enough of her. So guys, if you're one of these people that was there at the event, I'd love to be able to mention you all by name, because I would talk about all of you individually, and all of those that I've met over the weekend. I really wish I had pictures with me of you of us all together. I don't, but for all of you that had made an effort to come down. Lady who was on the scooter, and forgive me again, I can't remember your name. If it was you, then make yourself known, please, dear. She was going around with her scooter, and with a sign up that said Jesus wouldn't shun people, and brilliant. I mean, what a great effort. And so if you kind of have thought about doing these kind of events and done this sort of protesting before, well, I hope that this has just shown that you can do it. And I'm not going to lie, it's hard. It's emotional. It's tough. And I came home on Sunday feeling very emotionally drained, because it can sometimes open up old wounds. But you know what? It's really good for your soul. It's really good for your soul. Particularly to meet other people that you've not met before. And this was my sign. Elders are bullies, stand up to them. And I want to go back to what I said to you right at the start of this video. I made this banner for my dad because he was bullied by elders. He was bullied by elders in his congregation that used to tell him not to associate with his disfellowshipped son. Now, I know some of you will say, well, elders were just towing the line, they're just doing what the governing body tells them, all that kind of thing. I understand where you're coming from. But you, as a human being, as a father, as a brother, you know that the shunning policy is wrong. I don't care who you are. And it's about time these elders started taking some responsibility for their behaviour, for their bullying tactics, for telling people how to live their life. Now, if you haven't seen the film Apostasy, then I'd really encourage you to watch it. And this film, I could almost say this was based on my life, because it was very similar. Only the mum in the end, who decided to just completely cut off her disfellowshipped daughter. My dad didn't do that. He tried to keep a handle on it, but then the pressure of the elders, just as I said at the start, just got too much for him. So this was a sign for him, because you should stand up to these people and stand up to these elders that are telling you how to behave. Now, I don't think I've got a picture on it, but on the other side of my sign, I had a sign up that says Jehovah loves apostates, and you should too. Because you just knew that there was going to be a lot of hatred from the Jehovah's Witnesses towards our little group, and there was. Finally, I want to talk about this gentleman here. Bit starstruck by him, actually. He was sitting next to me in the pub. This is Stephen Unthank, and this guy is, as far as I'm concerned, one of the most important people in our activism group, in terms of what he's done. And this guy has got so much humility. He's so awesome in his approach. But what he has done is this thing that he's done with the Royal Australian Commission, and the plans that he's got with regards to looking at other countries and trying to help them or educate them in Watchtower policies. I mean, this is such important work. But Stephen Unthank is the type of person who could have let this power go to his head. Not power. Power is the wrong word. But could have let this publicity go to his head. But he hasn't. He is humble. He was still stood outside with the banner. Didn't think himself too important to not do that. And again, a massive inspiration. So, Steve, thank you very much for what it is that you've done for the JW community. Thank you for making the effort to come over from Australia. And I know there's lots of work that you're doing over here at the moment, and it's fantastic to see, and we look forward to the results. So for all of you there, once again, thank you for your support. Thank you for the effort that you've put in, and indeed for anyone that didn't come but has shared posts, has, to use Louise's expression, share the fuck out of it. Thank you. Your support and your sharing these videos is all part and parcel of activism. It's all part and parcel of bringing Watchtower down. To all of you people who were organisers and we're helping people with their travel arrangements and all the rest of it, again, thank you. It couldn't have happened without you. I was just a guy who turned up at the last minute and was very late to the party, so I didn't really do a lot apart from stood there with a banner. But you know what? If we can get another 100 of those people that could just do that, this thing would just be immense. So I hope you've enjoyed the photos. I hope you've enjoyed my little review, and I cannot wait for the next one, guys. Again, thank you again to everybody. I will not be as active on YouTube as much as what I have done previously, but I certainly, where I feel I can add a video of value, then I will do. Until then, take care, and love all of you.